Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this session. I'm very excited to hear about that. Gabriel, your company has transformed the real estate business in Brazil by turning the process that we have to rent rooms and apartments using technology. And accessibility to technology is very important. So what is your experience in how technology can increase the accessibility to solutions like you offer?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So what the reality in Brazil is that on the rental side, only about 20% of the population live in rental homes, which is about half of the percentage that we see in other more developed countries and more developed cities. On the home ownership side, we see that the same house stay with the same person, the same family for 50 to 100 years. So that means that people are not usually living in an ideal condition. And part of that is, I think I would divide into two steps. One is very hard to find the ideal property. And although the internet has been around for many years, the information that's available online is still very poor. So you have a bunch of duplicate listings, you have a lot of asymmetry of information between who is searching for a home and who is providing the home. So nobody really knows the right price, don't feel comfortable to make an offer, and that makes the whole market a lot less efficient. On the second step is the transaction itself is very bureaucratic and creates a lot of barriers for people to rent a home. You have to provide guarantees, or for buying a home, you have to have access to credit, to mortgage, etc. So what we did was to organize the access to information in the first place, and that's the technologies bringing more transparency, reducing this asymmetry of information between the supply, the demand, the agents that are involved in the system, and that democratizes the access to housing, to the properties that are available, and to the best deals that are possible. On the second step, in the transaction, we see fintech really reinventing the transaction, allowing the rent guarantee to be free. We basically embedded that and disrupted the insurance industry, embedded the rent guarantee there, make access to rental homes a lot cheaper for Brazilians that are moving around. And in the home ownership side, we do the same with mortgages and reducing the down payment. So many people really don't think about buying a home because they don't know if they can afford or they don't have the means to access the credit.
So, I mean, everybody needs a place to stay in, whether it's an apartment that we rent or it's a house that we have. So your solution has an impact on society as such because you created access to that. Nico, you're from Factory Berlin, and you have the largest ecosystem of innovators and creatives in Europe. What is necessary for them to focus on technology solutions that have a social impact? What do they need? What do you need to equip them with?
I think there are many topics, right? At the end, I would, on the abstract level, I would say that's network. And network means I find people who somehow enable me with some kind of competencies, right? And I'm always like, make it a very 0-1 categorization. Either I'm the tech person or the launcher, entrepreneur, a marketing person. So find the other one. Find money, find the right environment. And for us also as a curated, interdisciplinary, that's important because there are a lot of more tech communities out there. But for us, it's so important that digital and creative scene belong together, right? Industrialization brought us to a, yes, boss, I'm doing that a level. And now we come into a kind of network society. And so we think we have to bring people together, and technology enables those people to come together and nothing more, right? This is the end of technology. Technology should bring people together, and there are some challenges out there here on our world where we together have to, based on technology, bring people together, but in the analog world, right? Supported by technology. And we are doing that with different perspectives.
So your approach is that you bring together people with different assets, personal assets, character traits, capabilities that they have. So that's the diversity aspect of yours, so they can create together solutions that have a social impact?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, and I mean, this startup corporate story is outdated, right? I think corporates and startups know from each other. The ones who are somehow have this kind of knowledge know each other better, and we know what are the strengths and weaknesses. And I think we have now societal challenges, right? And this is something where we have to bring different perspectives together. And I was super surprised yesterday seeing all those institutions here, right? So governmental institutions. Websummit became not just a startup movement, but hey, it can be, and it's really energizing me as well. So this can be a movement, and we need those movements. We need those emotional vibes where people meet each other and say, hey, we are the weirdos, but it's cool. We are 50,000, right? So if we are 50,000 weirdos, we're going back into our local networks, but we all have the same ideas. We all have the same superior targets, the global targets. There are global goals. There are 17 global goals, and we can work on that. And it's not only the corporate and startup side. It's not only the smart city side. It's building transnational networks, and sometimes this event or an event infrastructure is the right stage for that.
I mean, you just mentioned the startup and corporate relationship working together. With your startup, you reached a lot of people out there, and it's about real estate. But if we look at examples like Airbnb, we're seeing that the focus is more and more on profit, and then we have a disbalance, because actually we want to achieve that people have access to rooms. And what is necessary? Do we need to regulate technology?
Yeah, it's always a tough, everything that we do has some benefit and then some consequence, right? So sometimes we innovate and we fix a problem, and because we are successful doing that as a society, we might have, side effects that were not foreseen in the first place. So it's not that, people has a bad intention in doing something that will have a negative impact. But I'm, optimistic that the humanity will somehow fix that. Part of it might be through regulation, and I think that the government, depends case by case, but in some cases we see in Brazil, for example, my personal experience, that they are supporting some things that will bring innovation, that will challenge the status quo, for example, in fintech world. That requires a lot of regulation. But I think one innovation will bring another innovation, and when we see that a platform became too big and has some side effect, probably someone will see that opportunity, see that problem, and capture the opportunity to do something that will fix that. So I think it varies case by case, but I'm generally optimistic that eventually we'll figure it out.
Well, I hope so. I mean, there's always the talk about unicorns, and we need more unicorns. We need to have, to be the leading center of startups or whatever. But is this the right approach? Do we need more unicorns, or do we need more creatives that have a social impact, Nico?
Yeah, it can be both, right? And I think I was wondering, I'm more and more, with understanding a bit better, I'm more and more joining those creative networks. I mean, Factory Berlin is a curated ecosystem, and the people are as well business people, right? How do you survive every day? I mean, you have to create a marketplace where by the connections people can survive, right? So, and that's something, we do not talk about a basic income or something like that, right? That's on a political level probably an option, but we are a marketplace with a value set where different people come together to grow their e.g. businesses, right? And that's something, and creative social or creatives to create social impact, that's something, again, if we come from a level of like these abstract, or it's very specific, 17 targets, global targets, and then we think, how can we achieve them? And this is really, everyone individually should ask themselves, how can I contribute to that? And I think the one solution here is taking today's world and today's routines and using it, for example, with a kind of a platform model, and let people just contribute to that by doing their daily routines, right? So I'm supporting, for example, a mentoring startup where students or talents and corporates meet each other. It's crazy that students have no clue about the business world, right? So, and we want to, the previous speaker also talked about that, right? We want to democratize the access to business networks. So we apply for jobs and have no clue what are those jobs, right? And we have no clue about those sectors. And why are those people in this platform model not join collecting waste in a park? Why not just planting trees by going for a walk together and putting it on technology and say, okay, this is producing 3 new planting trees, right? And those are the things where if you draw out this business model again, take the mentoring effect back away, we as individuals will feel, hey, I contribute. I'm passionate about contributing to the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And I was not aware of Sustainable Development Goals. They were founded in 2000 or disclosed 2015 by the UN, right? So, and I mean, I heard about that 2018. Right, and I mean, how can I contribute without knowing about that? And that's spreading the word, but bringing both worlds together, not saying the tech and decacorn and unicorn world and the social world. That's really the problem. If we would say, oh, good money only for good reason, this will not be fast enough and has impact enough. We have to bring those two worlds together, and here's a group of people who can do that.
That's true, yeah. I mean, we're both luckily from a country where we have a stable government. Well, at the moment it's kind of in transfer, but still, so we can discuss like things like that. I mean, the country you're from, Brazil, you had a lot of unrests. How did you experience that while you were growing your company? Were there obstacles, challenges?
Yeah, I think the political environment, you know, it benefits a lot the business sense when you have some stability, some predictability. That's not really the case in Brazil or Latin America in general. So that makes it a bit harder. But I see so many opportunities in fixing things that we use every day. And you know, the population, the consumers are claiming so much for that, that's, I think, is driving regardless of what, you know, the political environment is helping or not. So it would be easier if we were more aligned. But I think innovation is happening regardless of that. And I would add to the point about unicorns or not, I also agree that's both. And unicorns actually require two ingredients. They require a lot of customers, right? And they require a lot of talent to build those unicorns. So, and those two groups of people, they are actually more and more requiring companies to be more responsible and genuinely, authentically responsible as brands and products that have a positive impact on society, and the people who are going to build that. And you know, you see developers, creatives, and those people, they can work everywhere, to any company in Brazil, in Germany, in the US, anywhere in the world with the remote work today. And it's not just money they're looking for, you know, they want to develop their skills and they want to have a positive impact in the world. So if companies are not really addressing that in their core business model, maybe we have some temporary mismatch, but eventually I think, you know, we will evolve in a positive direction if we think about the longer term horizon.
Right. So what are your next plans? I mean, you're big in Brazil, Latin America. What are the next plans that you're looking at?
So we still have a lot of work to do in Brazil. We're starting the expansion to other countries in Latin America. We're just opening a tech hub here in Lisbon and trying to be part of the tech community in Europe overall. I think it's a big challenge that we have is to find talent, especially technical talent, and so we're doing whatever we can to be closer to these communities and be part of it. So we're very, very happy to be here and to start this new office in Lisbon.
Talent is another good point that you mentioned, and you already said that before, Nico, that you said students sometimes don't even have much of a knowledge of where they want to go, what the jobs are, what they are, where they want to go, what they want to study, or what career they want to pursue. What do we need? I mean, there's the politics side, there's the governmental side, there's the scholar side. What do we need to change this? Do we need more regulation from the political side? How can we change that students know more where they want to go and what studies they want to pursue?
I think this path we've described with the students and this childhood, school, university side, I mean, this is outdated, right? And we know that it's not this linear path. What can politics do? I have some ideas on that, but I think these are the others. What can I do, and what can probably Factory Berlin do? What is our contribution? I think after pandemic, we have this kind of feeling like there are those The home office is a valuable space, right, for yourself. It's a workplace, it's an environment. This is okay, it's good for silent work, and we all have to also socialize on the classical office side again. But I think we need more and more this kind of third place, right? And this third place, and there, coming back to your question, student and also university, school, creatives, sports offering, and of course all this industrial environment, there you automatically, by going to school, you will be confronted. So you only, and this is very clear, this 15-minute Paris-style concept, where you only leave your home if you have a kind of benefit from that. Again, technology enables us to meet people where we have this kind of benefit. And this must be a kind of creative third place where we will meet people who inspire us, who help us to solve our individual problems and let us probably contribute and have fun. I mean, don't forget that, right? So we all want to have a positive life. I mean, it's not just like functioning, right? And I think these are these kind of third places, and we as a factory start to build this decentralized network in Germany. And we are at the moment in Berlin and Hamburg. There are other cities ahead, but for us it's really important that we build ecosystems in all those groups, not focusing, and give the creators who want to move, who want to change something, this empowering network. That's what we do.
But how can we reach out to those students then, using technology? Is it social media platforms or, well...
I mean, what is the approach of the university? Once a year or twice a year, an event inviting all the corporates. Right? Is that smart? Is that continuous? Is that reliable? Is that a trustful relationship? I think you have to be there on a continuous level. You have to invite the students. We have more than 700 students in our community of 4,500 people. So, and they spread the word. And again, only by individual in-person relationship, analog relationships, right? You bring the people together, and that's a bit social media and all the environment there. But at the end, it's about the individual experience. I can talk so much about Factory Berlin, you wouldn't believe me because you are not there. Right? So the experience is at the end the difference. And we want to create those kind of places, at least in Germany first, but our community is so international that we know we have enough international perspectives on the topics we want to support.
How do you view that perspective from Brazil, Latin America?
I think we try to be closer there and bring in the perspective of the new technologies, the new things that we're working on, and I think it's both ways. Sometimes we are educating, we are sharing what we learn, and we're bringing that to the new generation that is entering the market. But sometimes they are thinking about things that we are actually too old to understand already, and we're trying to learn how they interact about things, how they think about social media, how they interact with technology, the things that attract them, and attracting them both as the future consumers that will shape how the world works, and also the enablers of the new technology that will make that actually a reality.
Right. So, we've touched on many things, how ecosystems can help shaping the social impact, and students, the talents that we need to create the technology for impacting society. What are the major trends that you see for the next 3-4 years out that technology will have an impact on society?
In our case, we see a lot of the impact of fintech, especially maybe in emerging markets where credit and banking system and the financial system overall is very underdeveloped. So we see a lot of innovation there that will include people, will make a society more efficient, will make the market more efficient, more inclusive. I'm also very intrigued about the impact of crypto and Web 3.0 and how these networks will kind of reshape how things work. I think, it's still kind of in the beginning of everything. It's not so mainstream yet, but it's moving so fast that probably in the next few years we'll see a lot of those things coming to the day-to-day, to the things that we use more often. So looking forward to be part of that.
So that's a lot of use of technology, and I mean technology is also a contributor to, well, not the sustainability goals in some terms. I mean, it has an impact on sustainability. IT systems create CO2 emissions. What trends do you see in that sense, Nico?
Yeah, I mean, the superior trends are digitalization, climate, and I think also social inequality. I mean, that's one of the topics, and you can break that down, and that's cool. Smart people did that for us. Global goals, right? The 70 ones. recommend to read them if you are not aware of them. And now the question is it an incidence that technology created something what is to the disadvantage of the people, right? And there you need, of course, politics or regulate it somehow. And I guess that we all, especially due to the pandemic, everyone would say, okay, I'm connected to 15,000 people on LinkedIn. So do I feel better now? No, I'm virtually connected, right? And only a few of them I see on a regular basis. Same Instagram, same social media. So we are more than ever connected, but somehow we feel alienated, really so disintegrated from society. And that's the problem. There was something like religion, different religion, something like a common belief. It was there, and we missed it, and we think more and more individually, and how can we solve the global problems if we are not act together, right? And technology should enable us to do it. So, and that's something where, again, technology should enable human connections, and human connections will lead through a kind of new religion where we work together, like in these events here, and create an energy to solve those global problems.
I love your point, because I think technology should serve us as a society and enable us to bring us together. Yeah. Obviously, also in person, like events like this. And it has been such a pleasure discussing this with you on stage. Thank you very much, Gabriel. Nico, thank you. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.